What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 481 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we'll be breaking down some of the current events and rumors and news and gossip and medical reports and trademarks and discussions about currency and how that works with people and some other things that have went down in the world of pro wrestling over the past few days. I'm Tony Mango. I've got Robert DeFelice.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. DeFelice.
Not as good as Dr. Nick.
Part of the congealed group. Quick story for anybody who loves these little Simpsons asides. The whole thing with the whipped group, the congealed group, and the chocolatastic or whatever. There was one time where I was kind of sleepy and I had we were trying to figure out what to eat, and I said to Caroline, I'm like, all right, well, what are the food groups? There's pizza, pasta. She's like, those aren't food groups. You know, it's kind of like,
Yes, they are.
like they are to me, they're to my diet, which I'm sure every doctor was just like, that's terrible. Sorry, Ethan. Anyway, Simpsons aside, let's talk about some of these things. We wanted to talk about massive updates to the WWE Elimination Chamber 2021 card because, as you might have checked out with the predictions, we don't know what's happening for some of these matches. And after SmackDown, kind of seems like WWE still doesn't know either.
Yeah.
We got one update for a 5-match card that we know one match for sure isn't happening. One match is probably not going to be the match that they said. And that one update is that the women's tag team titles are on the line. Now, I know that you know the answer to this question, but as a theoretical question, if I said to you after the events of Monday Night Raw and after the events of last week and the events of this week's episode of NXT that the women's tag team titles were on the line, how much you want to bet the answer should be against Naomi and Lana or against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez?
See, now, if you listen to the predictions podcast, I hedged my bets and I thought, Fatal 4-Way. Put them in there with Dakota and Raquel, Naomi and Lana, and Sasha and Bianca.
And for some reason, we're getting Sasha and Bianca because
Reginald pinned Nia.
yeah, because that's how you build things. You do a ding dong hello segment where Bailey can talk to the women's tag team champions about basically nothing, and then Reginald can come out and say about how good Sasha Banks is, despite that he's Carmella's sommelier, and then that leads to that.
He's an alcoholic.
Yeah, according to Booker T at the very least. And then, yeah, Reginald pins Nia Jax, which means that Bianca and Sasha get a tag title match before the two different sets of number one contenders. What?
So my guess is, and I don't like this, but they're just gonna rush the turn, and somebody's gonna turn on somebody. If we're smart, Sasha turns on Bianca, and it's choose me, bitch, WrestleMania. Of course, that would be smart. The way I see it going is they're gonna win those belts.
See, I don't think they're winning because of the fact that they did set up Naomi and Lana and they did set up Dakota and Raquel. I don't think that Sasha and Bianca are going to do the NXT tour kind of thing.
They only have to do 1 week.
It's true. I guess they only really need to do March 3rd.
Technically, they only need to do one night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a full week.
Yeah, like, if you really think about it, they can go to Raw and Bianca can just go... Bianca can challenge the SmackDown champion on Raw because, why not? They've made it abundantly clear at this point that it's Bianca and Sasha.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exciting. I think it's crazy that there's never been a singles match for a major world championship between two black wrestlers at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's insane that's never happened.
To this day, I think the only two black wrestlers that have ever headlined a card one-on-one against one another is Booker and Rock, and that was 20 years ago.
Hmm.
It's 20 years ago.
Yeah, I can't think
Like,
of another example because Kofi, no. Mark Henry, no.
I don't think Lashley ever main evented anything with Book. It's crazy.
And it's not like Sasha and Naomi, or
Right.
at least not that I can remember. Well, at least wouldn't have been the main event. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the way the WWE does things, I don't put past any potential sort of circumstances. That's the phrase. I'm saying it again. My God, what's happening? Uh, the way that this plays out, though, I think is still just going to be Jackson Baszler retained because Sasha and Bianca can't get along. But in either way, it's kind of a no-win situation because they did flat out have this whole Naomi and Lana thing, and if they don't go in that direction of them against Jackson Baszler, it seems kind of counterproductive. And they did do the whole thing building up the Raquel and Dakota thing, and if they go in a different direction, it's kind of like, well, then why'd you bother with that?
Yeah, they're definitely going to have that match. So, one way or another, even if Sasha and Bianca somehow make it out of here with the belts, by March 3rd, the belts have to be back on Shayna and Nia.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I mean, it'd be crazy. I was gonna say it wouldn't be crazy. It would be crazy, but it wouldn't be out of the realm of WWE booking possibilities for them to have them win the titles here and drop them on SmackDown. You know?
Right. And then just go, well, we decided that we're going to, fight each other or something. Scary thing is, Raw, which is usually the show they care about, really seems like it's got no WrestleMania match.
Yeah,
Because
no direction whatsoever. It seems.
I think tonight they pretty much solidified it's going to be Edge and Roman.
Hmm. I guess we'll
That's
find
wild.
out on Elimination Chamber if they do any kind of weird swerves. But I think at this point the biggest swerve is going to be what the hell's on the card. You know?
I made the joke a couple weeks ago on Twitter that it's not too late to do Ali versus Kofi. And you know what? Outside of the fact that Ali isn't like a marquee name, there's nothing stopping that from being the match.
You mean the title match?
Yeah, like just have Kofi win the chamber. Just do Sheamus and McIntyre in a grudge match.
Yeah, not gonna happen. I don't
It's
think.
not gonna happen at all. But like, hey, look, if I was gonna go on a whole spiel about like, listen, if you could fucking have Bianca, Sasha, and Kofi, how progressive does WWE look for 5 seconds? If if your main event matches are Kofi and Ali and Bianca and Sasha, it won't happen, but it's a possibility.
And then they go, and one of our other ones is we've got a tribal chief, and we've got,
Well, you got
you
him,
know,
Owen, and then all of a sudden Edge is just like Edge is the lone guy.
and if Asuka's in there, then they're like, we've got Asuka, we've got Alexa Bliss is a little kid now, so, like, you know, that kind of thing. It's
Uh,
going all over the board.
Look, I am more concerned about the Raw side of things after tonight's episode of SmackDown.
I'm concerned about some stuff on SmackDown though, for sure. We're gonna get around to that when we actually, you know what? Let's just talk about it. Screw
Let's
it.
just talk
Let's
about it.
let's bounce around here a little bit. Why is Otis and why did he and Chad Gable turn heel?
So I don't like that everybody's like, oh, this is a heel turn, this is a media heel turn. When Fightful just had to write the article tonight that Apollo Crews turned heel, and I was under the impression that he turned heel like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I've had that up on the heel and face turn list for a while. I've had him up since he was with Roman Reigns,
Yeah,
basically.
and we just did the article tonight because it was finally solidified because I guess he beat up Big E with the steps. I Otis is a unique case study in how to fumble your way into something good and how to completely fuck it up.
And it's not necessarily his fault either. So it's not
No,
like it's
it's
like,
not his fault at
Otis
all.
messed it up. It's at WWE where like, wouldn't it be funny if we did this with Otis? And then they were like, yeah, then what? And then they went, I don't know.
Or
And
wouldn't it
then
be funny if we gave him the money in the bank? Okay, and then what? Nothing.
and then nothing for a while, and then we'll hate the idea. Well, then why'd you do it? You know?
And then wouldn't it be funny if we like put it with Chad Gable? I don't see the joke, but sure. Hey, let's turn him heel.
So it's like we don't have the SmackDown tag titles on the line for Elimination Chamber, at least as far as right now. But we've got what could be a potential fatal four-way if they didn't do this whole thing with Rey Mysterio, of course. Because we also got, here's another thing. This is another thing that's just like, what? We don't have matches for this Elimination Chamber card, yet they purposely went out of their way on SmackDown today to kind of write off two potential matches. Because they got Rey getting knocked out there by Otis, where it's like, well, that's not going to happen because Rey's not going to be like cleared to compete, so to speak, or whatever. And they did this whole thing with Big E getting stretchered out. So it's like, well, there goes the Intercontinental title on the line. Who in the right mind is presented with the challenge of we don't have enough of something? And they go, I know the answer to that. Less options available.
I'd like to revisit the comments Callum made on the predictions podcast, and this is what pay-per-views are going to be from now on.
Terrible.
Like, they don't care.
They really don't. And I got to repeat the thing that I said too. If that's going to be the case, please don't add matches to the card that make no sense. Just make it a less of an event. Like,
yeah, I never want to see a WrestleMania 36 again where it's like,
yeah.
And we've got Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley.
It's like, okay, well, now that we get done with this episode of Monday Night Raw, can we get to WrestleMania? You know? Like, if you're gonna make it a 2-match card, make it a 2-match card. You don't have a crowd to have to appease, you know? It's one thing if you've got an audience that's there and they paid money for a ticket and you want to give them a full show, but you don't have that. It's just the Thunderdome. So if that's the case, make it the Elimination Chamber matches and the Roman Reigns match. And at this point, I would say, honestly, if you can't get Keith Lee, cut out the United States title match too and just make it a quicker event.
Peacock, everybody.
Yeah. You can't hit pause or rewind, but you wouldn't want to. So it's like, okay.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah. Woo-hoo. I did end up downloading that song. It got in my head enough. So those are things. We'll talk a little bit about some of the other things later on. We're going to come back to Natty in a different way. As with everything that we're doing here, obviously, I want to know what everybody else's opinions are too. Not just what we have to say. We want to know what you have to say. Drop a comment below on the YouTube video in particular while you're over there and you're chatting it up and you're telling us your thoughts on hot tags. Hit the like button. Hit the share button as well if you got anybody who you think might want to be listening to this. Hit the applause button if you got the spare change. You want to help us out a little bit. Same thing as the join button, which is the same as the Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/smarkoutmoment, you'll see our different tiers there. Some of them, like the Darkcast things, are Patreon exclusive, and that's most likely what I'm going to do when it comes to the Progress thing tomorrow. And we got some other things that pop up there. If you want to request something, there's the Pick Your Poison tier. But another way for you to make sure that you help us out that doesn't involve a single dime from your end is the subscription on YouTube. If you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Ring that little notification bell as well. And that'll help out quite a bit. So, let's talk about trademarks. We got Kevin Patrick and LA Knight. We know LA Knight. They didn't spell it right, but we know who that is.
Yep.
Kevin Patrick.
Kevin Patrick.
No idea who Kevin Patrick is.
I'm trying to think who they signed recently.
This whole batch of people that they signed, they're like not announcing them.
They'll announce them next week.
Maybe that's the case.
It's supposed to be February 23rd.
Maybe that's what they're waiting for, to just have like, look at this big giant group of people that we signed. Like Millie McKenzie is supposedly signed now. And Adam Max did, the one that I had written down before. It seemed like they had signed him a couple months ago. But Kevin Patrick, he could be anybody. He could be the Brock Lesnar lookalike.
As long as he's not Steiner. Like, they need to call him Steiner.
I really hope they call him at least something Steiner, you know?
He's Bronson Steiner,
Braun
the,
Steiner or something like,
or Ron Steiner.
or
Listen.
Franken.
Follow me here, Frank and
and Snyder. Frank and Steiner. So many people probably would not get the joke either, and they'd be like, "Oh, Frank Steiner, okay." He was kind of, fuck it, do it, WWE. You won't.
Frank and Steiner is my new favorite thing.
So I guess we gotta keep our eyes peeled for Kevin Patrick. It's a bland
That's a
name.
lame name. I don't want them going back to Justin Gabriel. Those names sucked.
Yeah, whatever. He's Michael McGillicuddy and the Rich Anderson or something like.
Didn't you learn that you don't produce stars like that?
Right. Now, obviously, like some people, John Cena. That's just a name, whatever.
Well,
But
John Cena works because, surprise, surprise, his name is John Cena.
yeah,
You can't take a bland. It's like if I said, you're going to go from being Tony Mango to being Johnny Green.
yeah,
Yeah, you're a fucking star now, Green.
right. It's like, nah, make me Papa Shango or something.
No, you're Papa Mango.
Yeah, there you go. I could be Papa Mango. I got Baron Samurai on the mind. We're going to be recording our Live and Let Die episode of A Review to a Kill pretty soon, everybody. So, well, you know what? While I'm at it, I'll plug it. If you are interested in the James Bond film franchise and you want to check out A Review to a Kill, it's a podcast we've been doing. We're up to, I think Thunderball was released earlier today, so we're recording them in advance. And, we'll kind of keep those rolling along. So if you go to the Fanboys Anonymous channel and the website, then you'll see them there. Check out everything else that's happening on fanboysanonymous.com. Follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Blah, 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 blah. Hit up the Patreon for that, too. While we're at it, since we're talking TV stuff, I mean, every once in a while we get a chance to talk about TV stuff when it comes to Fanboys, but this is kind of a crossover. It's a TV show, but it's wrestling. It's Young Rock. That had its series premiere this week. Did you check it out?
Yes. My main takeaway is perfect casting.
Oh my God, that's exactly my main takeaway as well. The casting is phenomenal on this.
Yeah, it really is.
I can't imagine that they would have been able to get better people for these parts. If they would have searched for 10 years, I don't think they would have been able to find better people. Everybody looks just like the person.
The McMahon one isn't great.
We haven't seen that one yet, though. So, like, we haven't seen that.
True.
We haven't seen Macho. Like, some of them, I mean, I've seen, like, the picture of Macho, but, whatever. Like, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt based off of this one, because Wild Samoans, like, perfect. The kid who plays Rock when he's at, like, 15 and when he's in college, those two, perfect. They look like they're The Rock in those time frames. Andre the Giant, like, the dude's big. He looks like Andre, and they got the voice kind of thing going on.
It's wild that they've managed this.
Same with Iron Sheik is really good casting. Junkyard Dog was good. Rocky Johnson and like his mom, like great casting for his mom.
It's very, very surprising how good they got it.
What do you think about the whole premise? Because for anybody who didn't see the show, I recommend checking it out. I don't think it's like the best thing in the world, but I thought it was good.
5 million viewers. It did really, really well.
Better than the WWE shows are doing. But the premise, for anybody who doesn't know, is The Rock in the near future, 2032, if I remember correctly, is running for president, which he probably
just gonna
should.
Put it out right there, right now. I fully expect that now.
I hope he does.
Be like, hey, look, I'm gonna run for president for real. Told you in the show, you weren't paying attention.
I actually really kind of hope he does, because he'd get my vote. It sounds ridiculous, but it wouldn't just be because he's, a former wrestler. It's not like if, I don't know, Gangrel ran for president, that I'd be like, oh, you got my vote. Like, no. But he's running for president, and he's doing these interviews with Randall Park, who's playing Randall Park. And they're just talking about, like, how he got to this point in his life, like the things and experiences that he went through that have gotten him to be, Dwayne Johnson, this megastar and whatever. I don't love the interview segment stuff as much. In particular, the way that they filmed it seemed really weird. It's like on a green screen, kind of.
Yeah, it's a weird premise when he's literally The Rock. He could literally just, be The Rock and probably say, "Hey, look, this is my life," and that'd be enough. It's a weird premise, but I'm kind of for it.
I'm willing to see where they go with it at the very least, because if they just have like that's the way that they introduce all the different segments and bounce around a lot, I think I will be a little bit annoyed about that. That doesn't work super well to me, because by the time that they go from one story to the other, it kind of feels like it just got started, This is like 4 stories in each episode. It's little kid Rock, teenage Rock, college Rock, current Rock.
I hope that the reason they're doing that is to get as much of what we know in. Because, I mean, the average person isn't going to be interested in, hey, he grew up around the wild Samoans. Are they really going to know? Nah, we want to see The Rock being The Rock.
I'm curious when they're going to get to, like, I mean, I didn't expect him to do it in this episode, but like at some point they're going to have to go into the whole idea of past the college years and get into like Austin and whatever, like who they're going to cast for that. Like right now I'm living for just the casting more than anything else.
Casting's fucking phenomenal.
I like the music that they had, a couple choices of the music that they had there. Some of the jokes are pretty decent. Not like, stand out amazing. Oh my God, I'm on the floor clutching my stomach because it's so funny type, but like good enough that I was just like, all right, you know what? Like I dig it enough. I'll check out the show,
It's very inside baseball.
I was surprised about that. Yeah. A lot of things about like, working the gimmick and all that.
Yeah, like the first thing that Little Rock says is, "Oh my God, Dad is so over," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, are we going here? All right, like that's cool."
I'm gonna have like episodes titled Crimson Mask and Dusty Finish and all that.
Red turns to green, brother. Like,
I was surprised there was no Tony Atlas.
were you though?
Because that seems like exactly the type of character that they'd want, Get somebody to do the whole kind of laugh that he was doing before.
Maybe he comes later, or maybe they couldn't find enough
Perfect
people.
Tony Atlas cast.
Yeah, enough foot fetish people. Like...
Well, if we ever see an APB on a casting call for Saba Simba, we know where it's leading. I liked the little bit that he was stealing stuff, and one of the things that he stole, like out of everything that he would want, is a Woody Woodpecker jacket. Hoping that that's a real story.
I think that's a real story.
Probably. It's too weird for it not to be. I like the whole bit. You look like Johnny Depp from 21 Jump Street because you got a mustache and everything.
I think that this series is going to be a make or break. Not make or break sounds extreme, but like a big moment for Rock and his foray, kind of giving back to the world of wrestling, because this is largely going to center around the world of wrestling, and I think that that's awesome. And honestly, for a long time, The Rock wasn't in the world of wrestling. And there's probably a good generation of people now who don't even know that that's a thing.
I think at some point they're going to get where they start kind of breaching out of that. And when they do that, I don't know if I'll be as into it. Maybe not. I don't know. But there's one thing that they're already away from that I'm already disappointed in, to be honest. I like Waffle. And my favorite line out of this entire whole episode was, Billy's always selling things Waffles in. I was just like, all right, Waffle's my favorite character. And then, I'm like, God damn. So I
It could be
think
a,
I
it
think
could be a
people should
thing where
check
you
it
go back
out.
and forth. I definitely would say check it out. I think it's a huge part of WWE's partnership with Peacock. Does The Rock own WWE? Let's really dissect this for 1 second. Peacock, which now has Young Rock. That rhymes, by the way. And then he basically saved Vince McMahon's ass on the XFL.
Yeah, it's a weird
It's like
whole deal there with the XFL.
it's like I wonder if he really feels like he needs to give back in a way, and this is like his way of doing so.
We got one WWE Hall of Famer out of the White House, and maybe we get this whole like, okay, now you're into the Hall of Fame, and then that's the next step, and then I don't know. I say, I see, check it out. I'm gonna watch at least until the next couple of episodes. I mean, pilots are weird. Pilots are the type of things that if you watch a bad pilot, more than likely, if it's really bad, it's not going to be good. If you watch a pilot that's great, it's very, very rare, but that's usually a good sign that the show's not going to be a bad show. And if it's good, has some bad, has some good, has potential, whatever, it could go either way. But I mean, like a show like Community, at the time when I first watched the first episode, I didn't love it. Now going back, when I check out that first episode, it's one of the episodes that I like some of the best. But pilots are the type of things you should give every TV show. If you like the pilot enough, give every TV show at least to the fourth episode. If they haven't figured out their stride by then, they're probably not going to. So we'll see. Maybe I'll make that a weekly, like, I don't know if I'm going to binge this or if I'm going to watch it every week. I'll probably just watch it every week because at some point I'll be like, all right, I guess I'll put that on. But if it is, I'll tell you about it. If it's not, then we'll talk about it after the season, I guess. I don't know. Let's move on here. NXT Evolve. We've been talking about this a lot here and there, but the idea that we don't need 205 Live anymore. And I keep saying that they should have stomping grounds and they should do that or whatever. It seems like we're getting it called NXT Evolve. They've already filmed it. They've got championships, which multiple. I don't know if I like that.
I think they're just the Evolve championships.
Because I could imagine NXT Evolve champion, NXT Evolve women's champion. I can't imagine that there's enough on the roster for a tag team and a mid-card title.
So this comes from Sean Ross Sapp, who I do work for. So I'm just going to read verbatim from Fightful Select. We have a ton of news on the plans for the second NXT show, tentatively titled NXT Evolve. There have already been graphics and a title belt prepared with that branding, although it can change. We've learned that Gabe Sapolsky and Jeremy Barash are both heavily involved in the production, which we're told is nothing like anything else WWE is doing. The tapings took place at a warehouse that WWE briefly used as a makeshift performance center during the pandemic. There has already been some content filmed for the program. Several of the newer signings since summer were involved. Josiah Williams was the host, which saw more of a fight feel to it. There was no live commentary, so anything that would be added would be in post-production. Planning for this has gone as far back as 2 years ago, with various iterations of the show pitched and thrown around. Different names had also been discussed for the program itself, including Nxt Underground.
Yeah, better name than NXT Underground, that's for sure.
I like Underground. I like the Underground name. I know I'm the only one.
Well, they had Raw Underground, so if they just did an NXT Underground, it would seem weird. I like the name NXT Evolve.
I like the idea.
It's it shows, like, NXT. I don't like the name NXT. I've never liked it because to me it doesn't stand for anything. So why is it called NXT? And you go, oh, well, it's next. And then why isn't it called Next? Oh, because get out the E and why? Like
I
it's just
think I wonder if Hunter would have been bothered to be like, I'll fucking come up with something. But then he decided, we already have NXT. I'll just
maybe.
use that.
But that idea, like it, the next wave kind of thing, evolve. Okay, the next evolution of whatever they're evolving into WWE superstars. I like it. Evolves a purple kind of branding. 205 Live is purple. It's a purple brand. Get rid of 205 Live, replace it with NXT Evolve, and you got everything that you need. You do it in the Capitol Wrestling Center if you do things there. If you do it in a different thing, you do it in a different thing. I'm all for the idea that it's filmed differently too, just to keep things a little bit fresh.
I'll say right now, I liked the Raw Underground fight feel. So if this is a fight feel kind of show, give it to me, because that's where the business should be headed.
And I'm assuming that we're not getting information about this because specifically they want to announce it as a brand new show for Peacock.
God, I don't want to watch Peacock.
You're gonna have to,
I didn't know.
But I'm thinking that they want to wait until after Elimination Chamber when they can start saying Fastlane is coming up and Fastlane's going to be the first pay-per-view that's on Peacock. By the way, if you sign up now, you'll also get the brand new show that we've got here called NXT Evolve, Which that's not a criticism if anybody thinks that I'm complaining about them. No, it makes perfect sense to do it like that. Just say that you replaced 205 Live because I don't need another show to have to watch.
Yeah.
If we end up with 3 hours of Raw, main event, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live, NXT Evolve, pay-per-views, this progress thing, and all these things about the network, like specials and the YouTube stuff, and well, you gotta check out the Twitter or whatever. Come on, you can't stretch yourself that thin, I loved it when it was just Monday Night Raw for 2 hours.
Yeah, Callum and I do the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast, and I've really been harping on, like, guys, it's short, they're stars, like, we gotta get back to this.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get back to, I love a good wrestling match, but we're gonna talk about Dynamite in a little bit, and why, God, Sting took a power bomb, and it was like, oh my God. Like, a simple power bomb. Now, granted, he's 62, but like a power bomb did that feeling. Give us some of that.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Dynamite. That's one of the main takeaways. Sting took a power bomb, and everybody pretty much collectively went, "Ugh," and that's not good.
They zoomed in on Sting's face, and he went, "Oh." Like,
again, it was just another one of those. Sting comes out, they talk, they whatever. I've hated this whole thing.
This was better because he got physical.
He got physical.
Physical. Thank you.
Sting was gonna get physical.
Physical.
Does that Dua Lipa song go? Let's get physical. No, I'm not gonna get copyright infringements. We got we'll talk about some of this in more detail, but when we get to the evolution predictions. But big money match, big money Matt Hardy against Hangman Adam Page. The winner gets 100% of their earnings from the opponent from the first quarter.
This is the most Mid-South Wrestling 1984 bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
I skipped the whole match and got to the promo. Then I was just like, oh, really? Okay. Well, they're doing something, even if I don't care,
Yeah.
We got Riho beat Serena Deeb.
Good match.
Spoilers for the whole US side have been leaked. I'm not going to say what they are, but Orange Cassidy beat Luther. We got Eddie Kingston talking some more. Kenny Omega talked to some kids in an elementary school. They
Are
hate
they in love?
Nakazawa.
That was the funniest
They sure
part.
look like it. Santana and Ortiz failed to win the tag titles. FTR beat.
Jericho grew some balls. He was kind of like setting MJF straight, and I kind of like that. It felt good to see Chris Jericho not being a cheeky
Total fool.
jerk. Yeah.
I didn't know that Sydal had a brother.
Yep. You might have seen there's a famous clip of him because he took this. It was in CZW, like this top rope rotating Styles Clash, and lands right in his face.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it was good to see him wrestle.
And eventually, the other big announcement was the O'Moxley. The O'Moxley and Mega. Moxley and Omega match at Revolution that we will, of course, talk about more in more detail with our predictions is going to be an exploding barbed wire death match.
I need to get your first thoughts on this.
I had recently done a DVD cover and DVD artwork for a company that did the best of. Oh God, what was his name? The CCW guy.
Zandig.
Zandig. That's I'm like it's Z. Forgetting.
I will take 3 cents of whatever they paid you for being able to remember Zandig.
Not that much more than 3 cents. But I wrote out so many of these such and such, tack on fire, whatever type of deathmatch things that I was just like, that can't be worded right. And I had to keep looking them all up. And I'm like, nah, that's right. It's like a Christmas tree doused in gasoline, whatever, something death match. And I'm like, that's what the match is. Okay. Whatever. So when I saw that they were advertising this as exploding barbed wire death match, I'm like, oh, I think I've typed that out before. It's kind of like, cool.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Give me all the barbed wires exploding. I
This will be
really
very
wish
fun.
somebody would have had a camera on Renee.
She tweeted out, "If my water breaks during this thing, that's on you guys."
It was great when she did the reactions before where she was just like, what the fuck? Seriously, what the fuck? Just kinda... You gotta imagine she calls up Moxley later on and she's just like, John? And he's like, I know.
Like, shut up. It wasn't that bad. I'm fine.
She's like, exploding barbed wire deathmatch. And he's like, just put the shit on the couch. I'll sleep there. Like, I'm gonna go to Roman's house.
He accepts me for who I am.
Yeah. Seth says that Becky lets him do it.
How come Seth never has these problems?
You're no fun. Yeah. Meanwhile, Seth and Roman are in like a group chat. They're like, nah.
Yeah, it's this guy.
This is some kind of 90s kids movie type of crap I'm getting into here. Some Rookie of the Year stuff. Yeah, so that's Dynamite.
It is.
Let's talk about we're saving the WWE on Fox thing until last, by the way, for anybody who's wondering. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Miz had started off, and we did a lot of this stuff when we were talking about the Elimination Chamber, where he said he's not going to be a part of the Elimination Chamber match because why the fuck would he want to do all that if he could just cash in? Actually, logic. It's crazy. We talked about the 24/7 championship. Still hoping that Bad Bunny does a whole thing on SNL about that. We don't know right
Dude,
now.
I am so excited for SNL.
I'm definitely going to be checking that out, unless I forget. But I don't think I'm going to. So we can't talk about that now because this is Friday night and it's not live, even the podcast. But the Lacey Evans stuff with the pregnancy, we talked about that. We still have no idea what they're going to replace that with. Gauntlet match ended up being Sheamus. We pretty much talked about everything. I don't think that there's anything that's changed over time now.
Yeah, Keith Lee is still advertised. That remains to be seen.
Yeah. Still no update on who's going to replace Lacey Evans, if anybody's going to replace Lacey Evans. So at this
They
point,
can't pull that match and then not do a match, right?
I'm hoping they don't announce anything until the pay-per-view. Even though that's like annoying as shit, I don't want them to just announce everything Sunday morning, you know? Because I know that their gut reaction for a lot of the stuff is, well, we'll announce it on social media and that'll bump up the social media numbers. To me, if you shouldn't be stuck in this jam to begin with. It's the road to WrestleMania. This is the one time of the year. Well, I shouldn't even say that. You should never be stuck in this sort of jam. Now, if something happens with like, hey, Evans is pregnant. Okay, you didn't see that one coming. Sure. Somebody catches COVID. Okay. I'm going to give you a pass for some of those. But WWE just has a habit of just not caring. And, we can go in this whole diatribe about this, whatever, but you should never be in a situation where you didn't plan out your pay-per-view because that's what everything's supposed to lead up to. And if you say, well, the pay-per-views aren't being up to anymore, it's just the TV shows, then you go, all right, well then
Then
why
you're
do the
not
TV
building for the
shows
TV shows. Yeah.
why do the TV shows go, well, we're leading up to the pay-per-views? Then the pay-per-views go, yeah, but the TV shows matter. Okay, well, if it's a cycle and nothing matters, then nothing matters. And then there's no reason to watch. And I actually kind of came to that realization a little bit when I was watching Monday Night Raw. I was like, you know what? I kind of get the feeling that the way that you're supposed to watch Monday Night Raw is not to watch Monday Night Raw. It's just to have it on in the background, like, because even tonight on SmackDown, it's like there's moments where I'm just going, who's telling people to do this? Where, for instance, Ding Dong Hello is going to come up in the next segment or whatever. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are going to be on. And Michael Cole goes, and don't forget that Bayley's hosting right before they go to the commercial. And it's like, well, you put it up on the WWE website. You put it up on multiple accounts, WWE on Fox on Twitter, WWE on Twitter, WWE Universe probably has it, WWE Network probably has it, Bayley probably retweeted it, all that other kind of crap.
Hold on, but it's called Ding Dong Hello. Who else says that?
Yeah. So it's like, you put it up on like 5 social media accounts. You've mentioned it on the show. You mentioned it in the prior segment. Either you think that everybody has short-term memory loss and you just need to keep reminding everybody of this, or there's some sort of psychological component that you think that it's like how there's like, it's not really mind control, but it's kind of mind control when people do like subliminal suggestions and everything.
Right.
Where you could be like, if you word something in a positive way, people take it in a more positive way. Or instead of saying, I'm sorry that I screwed something up, you go, I promise I will fix that for you. And suddenly people are like, oh, you're useful and you're helping me, instead of, yeah, you messed up, you ass, like that kind of thing. Somebody maybe told them, like, the more that you hit these pronouns, the better it'll be, and people will think that stars and stuff. Or they think that people didn't watch the other parts of the show. And it's like, oh, if you're just tuning in now, Bayley's going to do this. Which, shouldn't you have the data of whether or not people are watching the show or just watching segments? And if they're just watching segments, you should know which segments they're watching. If they're watching the whole show, we fucking watched it already. Like, you know what I mean? Like, diatribe. Sorry. Ended up
No, you're
having.
fine. I think that these are worthwhile questions.
This is my Frank Grimes moment of the. Well, I would say moment. I might have more. Just where's those wires? I'm gonna grab
you
them.
know what though? Drew McIntyre. I don't remember if it was this week anymore. No, it was last week because it was when he fought Orton, and he just tweeted out, "For the first time ever, ... in 2021."
Yeah.
It's like okay, he fucking gets it.
Right.
He gets it. So that shows me that that's a thing that they talk about enough that even the talent is like, yeah, for the first time ever,
Like when they make the jokes about, am I standing at the right angle to watch the TV backstage kind of thing?
yeah.
Like Anderson did this week. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. WWE champion Kenny Omega.
Woo! Poor JR.
Jim Ross just the WWE champion Kenny Omega, and people are like, "He called him the W," and he's like, "Oh god damn it, yeah, I did." Everybody fucks up. Yeah, it's not the biggest thing in the world.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah, I mean, he's been saying WWE champion for decades. I'll give the guy a pass on this one. Now, if he would have said the picture-in-picture champion, I would have been like, "Oh, come on, JR," you know what I mean? Let's talk about, if we're talking social media, we're talking things getting blown out of proportion to a certain extent. Let's talk about NXT. Now, we got a couple things that
You know
we can
what's
just
sad? Is that pitch could have went two ways.
yeah, it could have. And it will. But NXT had some different things that we can kind of breeze past. Leon Ruff beat Isaiah Swerve Scott, Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter beat Aaliyah and Jessica Kamea. And next week, Casey's going to be purged, I guess.
Hold
So,
on. So
that
Casey Catanzaro sounds like she belongs in a Disney Channel show, and I didn't want to let this go without referencing that.
but you're a
Sounds-
friend. You're not
This
like
isn't
this.
You. This isn't you, dude. What are you doing? I'm like, okay. I'm Casey Catanzaro, and you're watching Disney Channel.
Yeah. It's time for another good idea, bad idea. Good idea. Beating Aaliyah and Jessica Mea. Bad idea. Trying to go up the Xylee. You know what's still stuck in my head from back in the day?
What's that?
Great minds think for themselves. And every first of the month, I think Rabbit Rabbit from one of those segments where they talked about that. Weird how things burn in their brain. Kushida beat Tyler Rust. Zoe Stark beat Valentina Varosh. You got MSK and Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez setting up the whole thing with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. There was a good little thing there where MSK they got the ropes down for Dakota and Raquel, and then when Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler came out, they got the ropes down for them too. But then they got all like, "Whoa, like all right," They were eating some popcorn with Beth Phoenix too, showing some personality. I like it.
Yeah, they're great.
Escobar and Karrion Kross didn't happen, and the one report that I had seen said there was a medical reason, but they didn't explain what. Do you know anything more about that?
Here's what my personal feeling is. They're milking this every fucking week. They do this shit now.
It seems like they do.
Fail. Every single week, they're like, "Oh, just kidding, not tonight."
It has been like 5-6 weeks in a row where something that they've announced, they've been like, that's not going to happen this week, but next week it will.
And it can't be COVID.
Yeah, because it's 1 week type of thing,
Right. Unless you're like just making up your own COVID rules now, which maybe
it might. So next week, if that match doesn't happen, then Escobar is going to be stripped of the Cruiserweight Championship. Same exact thing as last time.
You know what, though? Good way to kill two birds with one. Hey.
With one hey?
just go ahead and, strip Santos Escobar of the belt, and now you only have one NXT Cruiserweight Champion.
Yeah. I still dig Escobar quite a bit. I liked his little promo thing about, even though it's the same cliche phrase, not your time on my time or whatever like that, but I did like how he's like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go home. It's like, all right, give him the belt, even though he already has it.
Give him another belt, a more relevant belt.
Give him Justin Devlin's, Jordan Devlin's belt.
Yeah, Justin's too. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck Justin Devlin. Now somebody's listening right there. They're like, hey, what did I do? You didn't give him the belt. That's what you didn't do, Justin.
That's right.
Hey, Barry. The other thing to talk about that got quote unquote blown out of proportion, although in a good way, is later in the night, we ended up having Danny Burch, Oney Lorcan, and Pete Dunne beat Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong through some interference with Adam Cole. And in the process, Cole had taken out everybody, pretty much, but in particular, Kyle O'Reilly. And after NXT, people were tweeting out, oh, fuck, Kyle O'Reilly had a seizure. And it went on for a good, I don't know, hour or two, where everybody's just like, oh, crap, oh, this is terrible. Like, what happened? Was it his diabetes? Was it some kind of like an injury thing? Is it something else? Is there another report? Is he okay? You're
We were
like,
all fucking were. I like.
everybody was worried. It's weird to say it, but it's true. Since it's pro wrestling, you got to go with the whole, yeah, but is it a work type of thing? And you're like, oh, okay, well, they probably wouldn't do that. That seems kind of, awful for them to say that he had a seizure afterward and to not try to make it seem like they put it up on WWE.com or something, like they can't get anything out of it if that's the case. Turned out that wasn't a seizure. It was just he was selling the attack, and somebody ringside took a picture and was like, he's having a seizure. And
yeah, somebody really was like, he's selling, he's having a seizure. This is terrible. And we were all worked.
yeah,
But you know what? I'm okay with it.
me too.
And I don't blame WWE for it at all because they never said
Right.
he had a seizure.
Not
The
like
guy,
the Mia Yim thing that they were doing.
yeah, it's like this was on us. And I'm doing a live stream with Sean, and all of a sudden I was like, Kyle had a seizure, and I'm going on Twitter and I'm seeing pictures, and I'm like, like, this is scary shit. And then Ryan Satin tweets out, yeah, he's fine. I was like, oh, you, like, okay, all right, as long as he's good. A
What
little
sold
annoyed.
me for it was Triple H in the pictures. Because he's just wearing a t-shirt, whatever, and he's out there, and it's like, well, normally when they have those kind of things, Triple H doesn't come out. And if he did, I mean, he'd be wearing a suit, whatever. I'm like, crap, that might be serious. He might have actually done that because we know in the past that he was not a part of the tapings for a while because they were worried about him with COVID and diabetes and stuff. And diabetic shocks are a thing. And,
I was kind of the opinion, like, I like he did sell a fucking brainbuster on the stairs,
yeah,
you know, but like you don't want to rush and say it's a work because then people will jump on you for downplaying it.
right. More
And thanks,
importantly, he's okay. So that's
yeah, like he's good and he's good at his job, and I appreciate him. And I'm looking forward to this rivalry. I think this rivalry is going to be the next Cole, the next Ciampa Gargano.
I'm
Apparently
totally in.
NXT can only do you betrayed me storylines.
Yeah. You betrayed me, and I'm a heel, and I'm dominating as champion. Not much happening on NXT UK. Nothing really to report about. They're making a big deal out of Danny Luna now for some reason. I don't know why.
Next week the Fabio twins get a title match, and in 2 weeks, Meiko Satomura gets a title match.
Put the belt on her.
But I think they're going to.
I really hope so. So
Any hope for the Fabio twins?
They could. I mean, Gallus has held the titles for probably
Forever.
way longer than they would have if there wouldn't have been a pandemic. Been over a year, I think.
Yeah.
Should be. I think that they won the belts in January of last year or so. Or maybe even before that.
Yeah, I'm ready for a new day.
Gallus Boys on bottom this time. Take that for whatever you want. Well, let's talk about the other thing on social media. So, WWE on Fox, a Twitter account that is associated with WWE and Fox, hence
but it's not
WWE on Fox.
associated with WWE
But
in terms of like they're not
it's not Vince McMahon
WWE.
doing it. Yeah.
It's not Vince McMahon employees.
It's Fox employees working a Twitter account that is supposed to be a social engagement interaction thing with fans. Had made one of many that they've done of a thing that has been going around for a while now for plenty of different sports and plenty of different everything, called Build Your Team for $15. And the premise behind it, if you have not seen this before, which I'm pretty sure you have if you've clicked around the internet and you're in this space, because it's been used for musicians. It's been used for just who's the most
Avengers,
attractive.
like,
Yeah, the Avengers things too, like build your Avengers team. You got this, whatever. The premise being people are on different tiers and you're given a dollar amount for the tier. So $1 is the lowest, $5 is the top, and you go, you got $15, you got to pick the people. That's all you can quote unquote afford. And the idea is, who would you prioritize? So would you get three of the $5 ones and have a team with three people just because you want those three top tier people? Or would you get as many of the lower tier people as possible and have a big ass team? You know?
Hmm.
Uh, I think that they're kind of fun because it makes you think. Like,
Yeah.
there's been instances where I've looked at the things for like the Avengers and it's like, crap. Okay, so I can't have Tony Stark and Thor and Hulk and whatever. And then, all right, well, Captain Marvel is really one of the strongest, and she's on the third tier. So let me pick up Captain Marvel, and then actually people are underrating Silver Surfer there. So let me get Silver Surfer in the mix because
Silver
he's like
Surfer sucks.
insanely powerful, though. You know what I mean? Doctor Strange, really powerful. Not my favorite character, but hey, Spider-Man's a top tier. But you know what? Spider-Man can get his ass beat by people. Let me, whatever. You do that kind of a thing. And they've done this. This account has done this for WWE before. They did it for Survivor Series, for instance. Build your own Survivor Series team. You got $15. Christian's $1. That kind of thing.
Did they do it with the women? Like,
As far as I know, they haven't done it with the women, and maybe that's the trigger that changed everything. Because this time, people are pissed about it. And Natty might have been the first one that mentioned it about, well, I know what I'm worth and whatever. And Shelton Benjamin, of course, was one of the people that was just like, this is a
Shelton
really
Benjamin
bad
said you
thing.
need to take this down and apologize to the whole roster.
Matt Cardona had said,
What a dumbass thing to tweet. Or what
yeah,
an asshole thing.
what an
Yeah, what an
asshole thing
asshole.
to tweet. People are talking about that this is really rude or whatever. I get it, but at the same time, I don't think that they get it. Because this is
They
going to
didn't
sound
get it.
harsh. This is going to sound really harsh. If you were on the higher tier, you wouldn't be upset. And that's okay. Like, it sucks to be told that you're not as valued in whatever space it is. Even a fake sport with predetermined outcomes. It sucks to be told that you're not on the same tier. Like, it's perfectly rational to be upset about that. And look, I can't even say that I wouldn't be annoyed if I were in their shoes either, because if somebody said to me, here's my top 100 favorite pro wrestling websites, and I was on the list and I was, number 95, I'd be like, yeah, I got 94 above me. What the fuck? Like, I get it. I don't think that this is anything to be like going absolutely crazy over, because they've done this and nobody complained. What makes it different this time,
So, outside of the natty thing, there was also people complaining about, the women that weren't included in the meme. D-
And then the
Look,
memes,
I'm
like, it
sorry.
only has a certain amount of space too.
I'm sorry, but if you're surprised that the $5 tier was the Four Horsewomen, you
Hmm.
ain't been watching the product for the last 6 years. If you're surprised that, you know, that you, as somebody who is regularly used as a foundational superstar, was on the $1 tier because you're constantly putting people over, you ain't paying attention to the product.
Right, because
Now,
this is predetermined. It's not like you're ranking their pure skills the way that it is. You're ranking them based off of kayfabe. And you can't make the argument, I'm sorry, you can't make the argument that Ruby Riott, who has not won a goddamn championship in her entire career, nor a big match. She never won the Andre, or well, none of them are in the Andre. The women's battle royal at WrestleMania. She never won the Royal Rumble. She never won Money in the Bank. Ruby Riott never won the NXT Women's Championship. She hasn't won a single important thing in WWE. You can't make the argument she's as valuable of a player as Charlotte Flair. Like, you could say that she's better in the ring if you like her better. But if you're judging based off of kayfabe, one of them's like a 19-time champion, and the other one hasn't won anything. It's just a fact at that point that they're different tiers.
If anything, you should be looking at this like, let me step my game up. Now, in Natty's case, you don't have to. Because you're Natty, and you've been there forever, and you know, like, literally, you know your worth because you've been there forever.
She might be the longest tenured woman's performer at this point.
Like, consistent.
Right. Because she's never been away from the company. She got signed and she's been there ever since. Everybody else, like Mickie James, she took a couple years, went elsewhere, you know.
Now, the fun part is, and you'll play around with me here, this is a very hard thing to do, isn't it? Like, I could see Bret Hart go, "What do you mean I'm only $3?
Right.
Watch Sean 5."
Then again, Hart's very easy to say something like a 4 out of 10. Like, people can dish it, but they can't get it back. And
Look, I understand that Natty's pride was hurt. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe she's working, because as we've learned, we can't believe everything we read on the internet.
right, that's true. But even if her pride is hurt, like, it's like, yeah, it sucks to be told that kind of stuff, but at the same time, what's your argument against it? You know?
My thing is, TJ, Tyson Kidd, tweeted out, "Leave this to the fans." Brother, they are the fans.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's a glorified fan working for this Twitter account.
Yeah, like, I understand that the name says WWE in the thing and it's a verified account, but you know that they're not working for your company, right?
And they've done similar things on WWE.com. And where's the outrage for everybody's levels in the video games?
Well, let's hope they don't go that far.
Like, clearly Barry Horowitz was not as valuable of a wrestler, kayfabe, as Bret Hart was. And if the video games would have had a ranking system back then, Barry Horowitz would have been very, very low because he won one fucking match. And Bret Hart would have been towards the very top right then because he was a multi-time champion.
Right.
Everybody, like, what do you want to do? You want everybody to get paid the same across the board? Everybody wins all the championships. If everybody is the top tier, there is no top tier.
I just think you didn't need to get upset over this.
You know what? Another thing too. Does everybody get that upset over the draft? Because the draft is a tier thing that's actually WWE saying this is the actual way we put the tiers on. Like,
yeah, like, you see how they're quick to draft Charlotte?
Like, they split up the draft in two so that they can have double the amount of people towards the top. It's not just a means to get you to watch two shows. It's also because, well, if you've got Charlotte, Becky, Roman, Seth, Brock, all these kind of names that are towards the very, very top, and you do it all in one night, suddenly Sasha Banks is the 8th person down. And you go, well, why is she the 8th? She should have been number 1. And then you go, well, because they like Flair a little bit better. But if you split it in half, then she's the 2nd down. You go, oh, okay, well, she's number 2. You know what I mean? Like, that is actually WWE doing it, and people don't want to complain. But then you do this for that, and it's like, that's a horrible thing for you to do. And I don't remember hearing Mick Foley getting upset that he was on the low tier for the Survivor Series one. You know?
Yeah, maybe it just hit Natty on a bad day.
I think people have such a thin skin for a lot of these things, and it's like, at the end of the day, can you just admit you got your feelings hurt and then move on? Like Shayna did.
And it shouldn't have to be like, a
movement type thing.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, like, that's just my personal take on it. It shouldn't always boil down to steal your phrase.
Yeah. Set of circumstances is my new phrase. So.
A great, you see, like, we have to stand up against this. Because, like, no, like, if you're honest with yourself, it's just a game.
Yeah, it's just a game. I forget what Shayna had tweeted out, but she said something like, I don't fucking care. And it's like, okay, good.
Bailey had fun with it. She's like, guys, it's not real. ... Because if it was, they'd spend the whole 15 on me.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the way that you should respond to those kind of things. Carmella had a good response too. She was like, "Why am I not on this in the in the $5 tier?" And they had tweeted back at her something like, "Well, you'd break the tier system," and she was like, "Prove it." And then they gave her a thing where it was just a whole bunch of $5 Carmellas. That's where you're supposed to have fun with it, you know? Now,
yeah.
Alexa had done a tweet saying like, "I don't really like these tier system things either." And it's like, now, are you going to be upset? For instance, like in TJ's case, leave that for the fans. Are you going to be upset when you look at the fan thing? Like if you go to Superstar Scores, you're going to be upset and hate me. I can't ever give everybody 100. Then why am I doing it? You know, like, and you wouldn't either. You know, the reason why people are Hall of Famers and the reason that people are revered is because they're better. Like, we got to a point where people don't want to admit that there is a competition aspect of life. Like, you know?
No, because everybody's got to run their own race and win their own race.
Yeah. And they do it with everything these days. Like, people get upset about stuff that has nothing to do with them. Like, this one specifically is, like, I'm assuming, like, Natalya got, like, upset because it's actually her in there, you know? Like, so looking at that, clicking on that and going, oh, wow, you think of me as, like, a $1 thing? That's kind of hurts my feelings. Like, that stings more. But then so many people these days are just so quick to be upset about things that it's like, you could be like, hey, I like Wendy's better than Burger King. And they're like, you heathen, you are you apologize for this. You're hurting Burger King's feelings. And it's like, he's not real. Like, yeah.
And here's the deal. If you're anybody who's just stumbled across this and you're this deep into the show, if you did a wrestling journalist, I don't even like that word, breakdown, if I wasn't on the $1 or $2 tier and I was somewhere above, you're wrong. You're wrong. If I'm even on the thing, I should only be in the $1 or $2 tier. That doesn't bother me. Sometimes you got to know your place. You're always working to get better, but sometimes you got to know your place.
Now, if you're making a columnist, pundit, give my opinion about stuff, and you put me anything less than the $15 tier that doesn't exist, then you're wrong.
Well, I see we got a big Papa Mango ego over here.
I'm right. I'll talk to Frank N. Steiner about that. No, it's just like, it's a game. Relax, you know?
Yeah, like the thing is, and this is what kills me, is it's literally just a game. And I remember like there used to be a time where you used to tell children like, it's just a game, you'll be okay.
Right. So I think this is much ado about nothing. They deleted it, of course.
Those poor bastards. Like,
it's not on Twitter anymore. I'm assuming they're probably not going to do them anymore, or they're only going to do
Elimination Chamber one.
No, but
that's literally just pick your 6 people, and it's just list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4, list 5, list 6.
Let me see this then, because that sounds kind of ridiculous. WWE.
I think it's let me see, because I think it might have been the WWE Network tier, the WWE Network Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the WWE on Fox. They might be too worried to do that.
Yeah.
WWE Network.
It appears we've chosen violence today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, pick one from each row, and there's no actual monetary side of things. I do like people are responding, waiting for wrestlers to get mad by this, you know? What is this thing? Somebody says Natalya, and they've got a clip of Triple H here. I'll play it on the thing.
I'm gonna jump on social media and I'm gonna tweet about it until my fingers bleed.
I'm gonna tweet about it until my fingers bleed.
You know, and I like, first of all, I like Natty a lot. I think Natty is legitimately one of the best women's wrestlers to come through WWE ever.
Natty's great.
Natty's fantastic.
But it's like Natty in 2021, kayfabe is not on the same par. same tier. She's not on par
Par
with
tier? Yeah, there you
par
go.
for the course. Small amount of peas. Just
Onomatopoeia?
onomatopoeia. Yeah. Looking at this thing, pick one from each row, build your dream elimination chamber match. If they were to make tiers out of this, some of it would be pretty obvious. Like, I'm sorry, Otis, you're not on the same tier as The Undertaker. You know, like,
Why is Earthquake on that list? Earthquake stands out like a sore thumb to me.
yeah, wow, Earthquake. I didn't even notice him. Like, just like we're not going to go here and figure out these 24 names and rank them in order, but like, to me, I would think tier number 1, Triple H, Undertaker, Steve Austin, John Cena. Maybe replace one of them with The Rock.
I'd put Shawn Michaels in tier 1.
I'd put Michaels in tier 2. As much as I love the guy, Shawn Michaels in tier 2 with Roman Reigns, whoever the other one was, and Randy Orton. Because, you know, if it's Cena or The Rock or whatever, one of those
I'd
two.
allow it.
So actually, you know what? Here, I'll do this. I'll do this really quick. Why not? Who the fuck cares? Tier 1, Undertaker, Rock, Cena, Stone Cold.
All right.
Tier 2, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton.
Okay.
Tier 3, I'm thinking Edge, Rollins, Batista,
Yeah, it's hard, ain't it?
and I'm trying to remember who I didn't pick already. Probably Drew because he's the current champion. Then I'm thinking, what do we got here? We got Kane, Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, and Kofi Kingston. Then the second to the last tier, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, Mark Henry, and who did I forget? Rey Mysterio. And then the bottom tier is Braun Strowman, Yokozuna, Earthquake, and Otis.
So
I
my
think.
bottom tier is.
I know, I didn't put
Otis.
Umaga in here somewhere.
My bottom tier is Otis, Earthquake, Henry, and Strowman. My second to last tier would be Umaga, Kofi, Jeff Hardy, Yokozuna, and Kane. My number 4 tier would be McIntyre, Styles, Rollins, Sheamus. My 3 tier would be Batista, Yokozuna, Randy Orton, Kane. My 2 tier would be Triple H, Rollins. Fuck, I forgot.
Right, I'm actually doing it in Photoshop right now just so I can keep track of it better because I'm like, I'm losing track of my kind of things too. Like, I know for a fact for me, Otis and Earthquake are in the bottom tier.
Yeah.
Because they didn't win anything. Like, I mean, Otis won Money in the Bank, but he was gifted Money in the Bank. So it's hard to kind of make that argument against that.
Otis is bottom tier just because, like, look at the rest of the people on this fucking list.
Yeah, it's a hell of a list.
It's a great list. And that's the point of the game, first of all. Like, you see what we're doing here?
Yeah,
it's
and
very
it's like,
hard.
It's supposed to be a challenging thought thing that you find fun, and, you know, just the fact that, like, I'm putting Austin in the top tier and I'm putting Triple H in the tier underneath him doesn't mean that I think that Triple H is a piece of shit, because he's not. You know what I mean? Like, tier systems are based off of tiers, and I want to make some kind of a joke about crying about it, but I can't think of it. Now I'm like full blown doing this tier thing just to kind of, like, it's bugging me that I didn't have the full answer for all of it. I'm trying to, like, make sure that I don't overdo everybody again, and I'll read off my list when I'm done with this for anybody who's wondering, because I'm not gonna just do that forever and then be like, all right, see you later, everybody. That'd be kind of funny though, wouldn't it? That'd be a WWE type of thing to do. Work on something for a while, then just not end up having any kind of result from it, like some kind of a storyline with Morgan and Lana, and
We're never gonna get the end of that. We're never gonna see that again, are we?
See, now if Brock Lesnar just wouldn't have beaten the Undertaker there. Any other kind of hot tags that we're missing out on?
No, I think hot topics all sold out. And so are the hot tags.
Let's ask Darby. He might have anything.
Yeah, that's about all I got. It's a good week in the world of wrestling. Pretty tame week, right?
We've had some crazier weeks, that's for sure. I'd much rather take a week where we go, let's talk about the TV stuff, and let's talk about some of these things that are going on that we find kind of interesting, rather than a week where we're like, okay, Kyle O'Reilly actually had a seizure, or this person's been arrested, or there's plenty of bad stuff that we got going on that I'm not the biggest fan of when we have to cover those kind of things.
Yeah, so good week. I'm excited for Elimination Chamber on Sunday. It's one of those like WWE things where it's a good show no matter what happens. Let's get excited.
Are you excited about this progress thing that's happening tomorrow?
No, but
I'm
I'm
not.
willing to have my mind changed.
I'm of the opinion that I'm gonna basically be like, who's this guy? Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Oh, Jumpy McGee. I like this guy. Like that kind of thing. Not expecting much, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna judge it based off of it being WrestleMania, because it isn't,
Right.
So I think I've already switched up some of my list from this. I don't remember actually what I went with from some of these. I'm getting there. I know for a fact I got my top couple of tiers sorted out. So I'm thinking this is what it is. Top tier: Rock, Cena, Stone Cold, Undertaker. Tier number 2: Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Roman Reigns, and Randy Orton. Tier number 3: AJ Styles, Batista, Edge, and Seth Rollins. Tier number 4, I got Mark Henry, Drew McIntyre, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, and Kane. Then I got Kofi Kingston, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, and Yokozuna. And then the bottom tier is Otis, Strowman, Earthquake, and Umaga. There you go.
I like it.
I don't think that that's too crazy. And it's not just based on personal preference either, because if I was doing that, the first tier would be Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, like that kind of thing. And that's okay. So if you have any tier systems of how you'd like to rank things on Smark at the moment, go right ahead.
I want to do a tier list of Simpsons characters. In fact, I will sit here and watch you make it.
We might have to do that for fanboys. I like doing tier list stuff. I think other people like doing it too, and I think that people should just have fun.
They're great.
We did a couple different tier list type things. If you guys want to check them out, go ahead and check them out. They're on the tier list section. As funny enough, yeah, they're under Fastlane predictions. Anyway, that's the hot tags. I don't think there's anything else for us to talk about now that I got that out of the way. I plugged most of the things I got to plug. I didn't mention the merchandise shops, but if you're interested, go to TeePublic and Redbubble, or ask me. I'll give you more information. I don't want to bog this down too much. And we've got plenty of things happening that are going to be coming your way. The next thing you're going to be hearing is going to be the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast for this week. After that, we're going to do the progress thing in some fashion. Might just be me. Might be a dark cast. I don't know. We'll see. And then on Sunday, we'll have the Elimination Chamber stuff. We're going to go through the events of whatever matches we get, because we don't know. Do the post show for that. Next week, I don't know what we're going to have for our main event. We haven't figured that out yet. It's actually a blank week.
Because it was supposed to be Revolution, and then they moved it.
Yep. So blank week next week, Revolution the week after that, then another blank week, then Fastlane. Then we're going to get into the pre-WrestleMania stuff. So one of those weeks is going to be Wrestling with the Past, talking about the Hall of Fame crew for this year, or last year. And maybe another edition of Hall of Lame, because we wanted to do that last year. Then the Hall of Fame kind of fell apart. Then we get into WrestleMania stuff, and then we get into the Q2 mailbag and everything that's happening there. I do know that starting next time around, next week, even if it's not our main event in some fashion, it might be. I don't know if we can't think of anything else. We're going to start the Smark Madness tournament. We've got the qualifying round part 1. There's going to be 2 parts to the qualifying round. We're going to do the best WWE pay-per-view names of all time. So that'll be going on throughout March, and it'll end with the finals before WrestleMania. Stay tuned for that on the website. That'll be up on the sidebar. You'll find it on the website. If you don't, tweet at me or whatever. I'll give you a link. And everything that's happening on Fanboys, I pretty much mentioned. So, yeah. What do you got cooking?
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say, don't you worry about blank. Let me worry about blank. Okay?
Blank? You're not looking at the big picture.
Futurama is great. Now, you can follow me on Twitter at DudeFelice. You can check out everything I'm doing over at Fightful.com, WrestleZone.com. Soon I'll be on Twitch. I'm just trying to get some graphics together because I don't like to do anything without a pretty presentation, and that's on me. But yeah, so that's all in the works. Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast tomorrow will be the go home show before No Way Out 2003. That will see the return of The Rock and Hulk Hogan. There will also be a paddle on a pole match not related to The Rock and Hulk Hogan. There's more crates.
Yappa
There's no Yappapi Indians on a pole. It's a good time, and me and Cal Miggins enjoy the journey. There's about 2 more episodes left, so enjoy that podcast while you can, and we will see you back here on Sunday.
Yes, we will, unless you're not here, and then I'm very sad. So don't make me sad. Come back. Tell me that you enjoyed this. Hit the like button, and everything else that we've talked about before. Follow me at Tony Mango all over the place here. If you notice, by the way, that there's some kind of a glitch and things aren't tweeting correctly, let me know, because I found out the other day that I lost like 3 months worth of Fanboys posts. They weren't posting correctly. And I don't know when that happened, because I thought that they were the last time I checked. So I tried to clear that up a little bit. But yeah, if you follow the Twitter accounts and anything and you just go, hey, the A Mango Tree thing's not working right or whatever, tweet at me. Let me know. Same thing for obviously Tony Mango and Fanboys and Smark Moment and way too many other things. If you're one of the people, by the way, that has been clicking the like button on our Couple Movies Facebook pages, we don't have any content yet, but that's awesome. Thank you. You can always get a jump start there. I have 2 pages because I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. Facebook.com/couple movies and Facebook.com/a couple movies. There's Twitter accounts for those things too. I don't know. We'll figure that out at some point.
I still don't know why you need another account for us to watch movies, Tony.
I gotta make it official. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing things. Things are happening. Hopefully you'll enjoy us for the ride for all those things. And we will see you next time, everybody. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.